Hello and welcome back to the Spotlight Games podcast for episode 153. Today, the developers of Flop of the Year winner Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League are returning to single-player games. Sony turned down a sequel to The Order 1886, and I am furious about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Joining me this week, my sweet dumpster boy, Cayman Darty. Cayman, how you doing?
Oh, Patrick, the dumpster boy is alive and well. The dumpster boy, it feels like he's almost got his mojo back, Patrick.
Yeah?
I feel like the dumpster boy almost has his mojo completely back. I've been on fire today, Patrick. I've been on absolute fire today, and I really hope the chat is getting ready to pop the fuck off, because I have a feeling in this episode, there's going to be blood.
I love blood. Can I just say? I love blood. You know who else loves blood? My gamble worth taking. Joining us yet again here at the Spotlight Games podcast, GWT Maury. Maury, how you doing?
Dude, I'm great. I'm repulsed by blood, but I saw the vision and I saw where you were trying to go, and I followed.
Are you one of these people that like pass out at blood? Are you a pass outer?
No, but like
it's okay if you are.
No, I'm not. But I want to know, if somebody vomits, are you vomiting after they vomit?
No,
not necessarily.
Wow.
However, if I'm like in an airplane and it's like or just like any enclosed space, I think the tighter the space, the more likely I am to start throwing up.
See, no, I don't even need a tight space. I remember one day, elementary school, FYBJ, Big Daddy Juan, running around playing soccer with his buddies. One kid throws up, another kid throws up, another kid throws up, and I blow chunks right after the third kid. Like, we got all open space. It didn't matter.
That's what they call a Stand By Me blueberry pie at the festival, at the county fair episode. And if you know that reference, you're old as shit.
Yeah.
What is this?
Okay, Maury, let me teach you some things. You young boy. There is a movie called Stand By Me based off a short story by none other than Stephen King. And it's a coming of age story about a group of kids going to look to find a dead body. And at some point in the movie, for whatever fucking reason, there's this scene in which a very fat man competes in a blueberry pie eating contest. And he eats all the blueberry pies, and then he throws up. And when he does, everyone around him starts throwing up, and it's a chain reaction. All blueberry. Everyone's throwing up blueberries. It's a great movie. You should check it out sometime. It's got River Phoenix dead. It's got Corey Feldman, probably also dead. Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell
dead. He's also dead.
Not dead.
And Kiefer Sutherland, not dead.
Not dead.
His father, though. R.I.P.
And also the voice of Snake.
And one of them.
Well, yeah.
Well, I guess two of them.
Yeah.
We count Ground Zeroes.
Do we
count Ground Zeroes?
Like, it's not really.
That's kind of a toss.
We got a lot of video game stuff to talk about, because this is the Spotlight Games podcast, where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight Games Pod, or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod, just like Sirius Shard, High School Weekly, Rabbit128, Gianni DeCrosta, Mr. Treehorn, the Dumpster Boy. You're in the chat.
Oh, man, sometimes somebody's got to keep these motherfuckers on a leash.
That's true. And Cognitive Clips. So be like them. Follow us on Twitch so that you're notified when we go live, so you can be part of the conversation. I said last week that Doki Doki was back, and I lied. It wasn't back last week, but it is back tomorrow night right here, twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. Episode 3, myself and Rose will be here giving our best anime voices. And then also tomorrow night, tomorrow late afternoon, early evening, over on Drop In, Drop Out, myself, Maury the Gamble we're taking, and Jerkachu, a.k.a. Jerica Hanna, going to be live reacting to the State of Play at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/Drop In, Drop Out Pod. It's going to be our first live reaction on the channel. Very excited about that. Rabbit says, say my name, slut. I'm pretty sure I said Rabbit. Did I not say Rabbit? I feel like I said Rabbit.
You didn't add the
I didn't say Rabbit 128. You're right. I didn't do that.
Yes.
And finally, join the Discord. We have a fun little Discord where we discuss what we're playing and generally goof off together about video games. So if that sounds like something you'd like, click the link in the description, click the link in the bio of our socials, join the Discord. Rabbit says you did. It was a power play clip. You fucker.
Wow.
You
Can we get a good boy in the chat?
fucker.
Can we get a good boy in the chat for Patrick?
God, I'm such a
Can
good
we?
boy. Look, it's episode 153. We've been doing this over 150 times, and most of those times we start our episodes by talking about what we've been playing. Today is like many of those. That's exactly what we're doing. Maury, I know that you've been a busy boy. You've been buzzing around in your neck of the woods. We've been playing a little something.
Oh, Patrick, I've been playing a little something.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, Patrick, I finished Citizen Sleeper.
Cheers.
What do you
Look
think?
at you.
Dude, I'm so proud of myself. And Cayman, I'm thinking about going for the plat. I'm only a couple trophies off. You know what I mean? Like I'm never gonna catch up with Cayman now.
Sure.
Like I remember last year, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get him. Oh, I'm gonna beat Cayman. He's like completely eclipsed me since that was said. So I've just given up hope. But nevertheless, yes, I did beat Citizen Sleeper. Got a couple of the different endings. Loved my time. Enjoyed it quite a bit. Started reading a little bit more. I was struggling toward the end. Started like. Because you told me, you were like, dude, some of this has implications in the second one. So now I'm like a little hawk, just reading everything.
Sure.
So I was playing some Citizen Sleeper, but the most important thing that happened this week, both of these things happened today, by the way. Like, yeah. So like, this is how important and also how busy I've been. Is like, I have not done any of this until today. I finished my Citizen Sleeper playthrough today, and I hit GM in Marvel Rivals.
Whoa, what's that mean?
That means that I'm in the top 2% of players worldwide, baby. Worldwide.
Whoa.
I am a worldwide phenomenon. So yeah, I am now Grandmaster in Marvel Rivals, which I'm very happy about. And I finished Citizen Sleeper 2. That's what I've been playing.
Hell yeah. What do you think about the ending of Citizen Sleeper?
Well, I got a couple different ones.
Yeah.
So like there's one where you can let, like, spoilers for Citizen Sleeper, where you can go with Lem and his daughter on the ship, or you can say deuces. Both are heartbreaking in some way, like pretty tragic. You also have the one where you like become free through the gardener and your like conscious is let go.
Sure.
That one was kind of cool.
Sure.
And then I think there was another one that I did as well.
There's like 9 or 10 endings in that game.
Dude, so fucking many. And I know that there's some that you have to do a second playthrough for, but I've gotten most of the ones you can get on a first playthrough. And it was cool. It was cool. It's a little weird. It feels a little like I kind of wish there was a little bit more oomph at the ending. Like I wish that they made you kind of like dedicate yourself to one more. And that there was more emotion, like maybe like some music, like I don't know, something. But regardless, very beautiful, very impressive. Loved it.
Yeah, I feel like for me with that game, there were a few times where I lucked out that I got basically every ending, but I got them in a way in which I kind of felt like every ending I would get, I liked better than the previous one. Like I started with the fungus ending and I was like, this is a weird ending. Like nothing is completed. Like I have so many loose ends. All of a sudden it's just over. And then by the time I got to like the final one, I was like, okay, this feels like the canon ending, which was cool.
What is the final ending? What is,
well, it's so I mean, it can kind of, it depends, right? But so there's DLC that they add, which I guess in your game is probably just in there. And then there is like a definitive ending of the DLC, but I think if I'm not mistaken, it's a binary choice there too, of like either go or don't kind of thing. So I think it just depends on which one you want it to be of the DLC ending. But technically, anything before the DLC ending, I don't think is like the ending, I guess.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
But maybe, I mean, some people would disagree. Like I know Mr. the Human Plays, he had the Lim and Mina one, and he was like, I mean, that's my ending. I'm not playing any of the DLC, so which I get. Speaking of Citizen Sleeper, I finished 2. I'm not going to tell you the ending that I got, but
let me tell
what
you,
a fucking game.
Let me tell you, Patrick, I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
you finished a game.
I sure did,
and it's only February 11th.
I know. This is the first. Well, I mean, I finished Citizen Sleeper 1 early this year, so I guess this is my second game I finished this year. But this is the first new game I finished this year. That's for sure.
Wow.
But so good. I think the ending is so much stronger than Citizen Sleeper 1. I think just basically everything about Citizen Sleeper 2 is so much stronger than Citizen Sleeper 1. But I've waxed poetic about Citizen Sleeper on this podcast for several weeks. Cayman, I want to hear a little bit about what you've been playing. I have a couple other things to report, but I want to kick it to you for a minute.
Yeah, because we're going to go to toe-to-toe, blow for blow here in a minute, bucko. So before we do that, let me talk about a game that I was going to do as a dumpster dive, and I'm torn. Dumpster dives are games that I recommend. And I'm playing this game right now called Witchwood. And the thing is I think I could potentially recommend this game. The problem is there's a very distinct gameplay mechanic that I am not vibing with that makes me feel like I don't want to recommend this game. So let me break it down. Let me take a step back and explain what it is. Witchwood is a crafting game. It is a crafting game. You are collecting things to craft. The whole mechanic of the game is that you will be trying to complete puzzles by crafting things. You play a witch who's been tasked by a Black Phillip-like goat to go and collect the souls of these 12 animals. When you have to collect the souls of these animals, you essentially have to craft things from things you find in the world that can maybe potentially kill one of them, that you can take parts from it to craft more things. The idea behind this, like crafting things as a puzzle mechanic, because each encounter is like a puzzle. You kind of have to figure out what goes where with what, and sometimes the game will tell you what it is. Sometimes you kind of have to like fuck around to figure out what happens, like what's what. The problem is it's traversing the world, right? You have these biomes, and they're not big, but you have like several biomes. And the game requires you to like collect items that could be in, biome all the way across the map, like all the across the hub world, to the next to one that's completely on the opposite side, and then back down. And the problem is that as you're doing these things, you're unlocking more crafting items that you can use to craft with other items to make more new items that can be, so rinse and repeat. The problem is when you make me move from one end to the other, then back again and back again and back again, because that's how you're just trying to fluff the game.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this game's really interesting. And there's a very cool idea and a really cool mechanic that might land with some people. My wife is one of them. She played the game and really liked it. And that can, land for people who like the what was it, Potion Master? Is that a game?
Potion Craft.
Potion Craft. There's games like this, like other types of games where it's all about like collecting and crafting and whatever. But I think the thing is, like, if you vibe with that, then you'll probably vibe with this game. I'm just not certain that like anyone else would be able to put up with the amount of having to go just running back and forth. There's no combat. So it's really just dead air trying to memorize what's the fastest route from one place to the other. And that like really sucks the fun out. And like, so I'm on the fence. I'm like, I don't have a lot of time. Do I put it towards this game? Do I put it towards something else? I've got another game I'm working on called Big Helmet Hero. I'm not going to talk about it, but just look that video up. If you like couch co-op games, look up Big Helmet Hero. Cool. And so I'm like, do I continue to play or not? I'm a little bit torn. So that's where we're going to stop there. So I don't want to call it a true dumpster dive. Patrick.
Sure. Yeah, excuse me. I feel like everything you just described is the exact reason I stopped playing Witchwood, which also, what an easy way to call it witchcraft. Come on. It was right there.
Yeah.
I also had this weird experience with that game where the way that there's a lot of people in the chat talking about how like pretty the game is, which I agree with, but there's this weird thing that I'm sure you were having this issue too, where it's not clear in the art of the game what is interactable and what isn't.
Right. Yeah.
Like there are so many times like an item, like some weed or whatever that you're pulling. It's like I don't you can never discern which is pullable and which isn't. And so you're just like running around just like mashing A because like, okay, I don't want to like miss a thing, but it's never easy to figure out. At least it wasn't. I think I played this on the Switch when I played it. So yeah, ultimately I ended up dropping out after a few hours. So I get it for sure.
God, this is heartbreaking because it looks so beautiful to me.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And apparently,
so
the story has like a lot of really big emotional beats towards like the second half. And that's why I'm like, that's why part of me is like, I should just power through, because there might be a thing where it's like, hey, if you can get past this one mechanic, you will fucking love this game. But as of right now, I'm kind of like, if you can get past this one mechanic, you might like this game.
Right.
Yeah. And there's too many games to play for me to try to push our group. Look, I'm not the dumpster boy, and these aren't my dumpster children. if I am not here to try to guide you, my flock of trash people, to the promised land?
Right.
Patrick, I need you to give me another take of "Don't Want to Miss a Thing," but as Steve Tyler. How was that? I jumped ahead.
Wow.
Cayman, you've also dabbled a little bit in the Monster Hunter Wilds beta,
did.
as did I. I played a
Yeah.
couple hours on stream with the homie Jake Twitchin. You have played and liked Monster Hunter in the past. I have not. What did you think about the beta?
Yeah, I'm really hoping it's because it's the beta. And like the way, I think it just gives you the first mission of the game, and then it opens up where you can do like a little bit more after. I got to the end of the first mission and was like, yeah, I'm going to turn this off. I want to play Kingdom Come Deliverance because I am not having fun.
Damn.
It does not feel nearly as good as I remember Monster Hunter World feeling. I probably put about 40 to 50 hours in Monster Hunter World. The reason that I'm not a Monster Hunter guy is because I'm bad at the game. And that hasn't changed, but something has changed where like the fun and enjoyment of it was not there for me. That I felt like I was just chasing the monster around over and over, being like, okay, well, if I just smack it a few more times, one piece will fall off and I'm going to rinse and repeat this for 20 minutes. And I'm like, man, this was fun, I think, at one point. And I don't feel like it is right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was the only other one I played was Monster Hunter Rise, which in hindsight, people have told me that was actually maybe the worst one to start with because I also played it on Switch. And so this one already I was having a better time with, but it was the kind of thing where I was like, I kind of don't see a world in which this game clicks for me unless I'm only playing it with people, and thus the fun is hanging out with my friends while playing, which, as we all know, for the most part, is not the way that I typically play video games. So already I'm like pushing the boulder up the hill when the kind of main way it seems like this game would appeal to me is the main way I don't play video games. And like there are just a lot of little things too that I think could add up to me not having a good time. Things like the menus are a fucking nightmare. The map makes any Ubisoft game look like a fucking dream with the amount of just dots everywhere. I'm like, so many of the things feel, and I wonder if part of that is being dropped into it. If there's like a getting to it slower in the main game makes more sense. But then again, it's like, this is chapter 1 of the game, apparently. Like, it seems like we played the opening of the game. So yeah, I don't know. I have concerns. But all of that to say, it seems like if this is your shit, you're gonna love it. Like friend of the show, Pinksy, Monster Hunter Sicko, is like having the best time with the beta.
Yeah, genuine freak.
Yeah. See, hold on. Oh, sorry, Maury, please.
No, I was just gonna say, like, hearing this from both of you is really disheartening because I've played the last time I played a Monster Hunter game was probably when I was like 12. Okay, and I think I played for like a combined 2 hours with some friends. Never touched it again. But you know, Pinksy, our resident Monster Hunter sicko, has really been hyping up Wilds to me. So to hear two people that I at least have similar taste to in games tell me that they did not enjoy their time with this at all is really disheartening because now I don't know if I want to buy it.
I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it at all. I had a lot of fun playing with Jake. I don't think I would enjoy it playing alone, though. I think is the big thing.
Yeah.
And Gianni asks in the chat, do you feel like it's the same gameplay, just hasn't aged well, or the mechanics are less fun? That I don't think is one I can answer. Do you have any insight on that?
I think I can answer a part of it, and obviously take my opinion with a super grain of salt. The only Monster Hunter game I've played has been Monster Hunter World. Like I said, 40 to 50 hours in it, though. But that's, from my understanding, doesn't begin to scratch the surface of what Monster Hunter fans put into these games. So that being said, in terms of what I'm experiencing, I played with the sword and shield, which are the sword that can turn into an axe. I think it's like the power sword or something. And so I played as that weapon, and I was like, the controls are awful. Like, I'm attacking with like the triangle button, and I'm like, okay, so it's fine. I'll just go to the controller settings and change that and do the button map, and it'll be fine. And then the game was like, oh, you want to change the buttons? No, you don't.
Actually, not gonna happen.
No. And I'm sorry, but when you're playing a game and you're fucking jacking up your thumb like it's dislocating to hit a button, multiple times. I'm like, this feels awful.
Yeah.
And that didn't feel right. And maybe it was Triangle on Monster Hunter World, and maybe I'm crazy and don't remember it. But like that did not feel good. And then it was just like as I was going through the UI, I feel like has gotten worse. Like the UI is overwhelming. And
it was so overwhelming.
Yeah. And so once again, I'm like, okay, maybe the beta doesn't let me change my controls. Like maybe that's it. So like maybe that's different. Maybe I'll go to Twitter and start poking those motherfuckers and be like, tell me. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to fix this? This one human being wants you to fix this for him. But like, I think the game looks really good. Like it's beautiful to look at. It just is kind of,
I agree. It was very pretty to be in, although it has that like issue that I feel like some Star Wars games have where it's like just everything's a desert. And I'm like, I'm sure that's not going to be the case in the final game, but it's like desert can only be so pretty. I will say something that I fucking loved about it. And this might be a weapon that's always been around in Monster Hunter, but it's the first time I knew that you could play with a giant fucking saxophone as your weapon. Cool. Yeah. And that is the fucking best. Like, I love that the way that the attacks work in that is by playing a melody, and different melodies will give you different like buffs or debuffs to the enemies. Cool. It's like a really cool thing. And honestly, that's like the one thing that's making me consider getting this for real, of like the playing with the fucking giant saxophone was just weirdly fun. But like, yeah, there was this issue, and I feel like this is probably a Monster Hunter issue for me, not for Monster Hunter fans. I was like, why do I have to go through like 7 different altercations with this one monster? Like, it felt like the pacing of the fights were absurd, of like, this thing is still not dead. I've been fighting it for 25 minutes. But it seems like that's the point. And so that, I think, just doesn't click for me with the franchise. And maybe it's something that I would grow to like, but that, to Johnny's point, in my opinion, feels like an outdated thing, of like, this no longer feels like it works.
I want to throw something out there. So Jonesing Simba in the chat says, it always confused me when people have such an issue when a game doesn't allow remapping, when you can remap from a console system level these days. So, okay. One, I had no fucking idea you could do that. I know you can on PC. Didn't know you could do that on console. Here's my problem with that, though, is that I swap between games so much because I'm normally playing like 3 games at once. My TV game, my dumpster dive, and then I'll have like another game that I'll be playing that's probably like a larger game that I'm doing with friends. Like right now, like it's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Like I've just got that where I play it, when I have like friends over or whatnot, we bust that out. So like 3 games normally. So I would have to like go in and like remap every single time I wanted to swap, which is a bit annoying, but I do understand that it's essentially being pedantic to a certain degree about it. But it is.
Cayman, get ready. I'm about to blow your mind.
Oh, fuck off.
I'm
blow
so
my
sorry.
mind, baby.
For the DualSense Edge, you can have multiple profiles. So you can literally just hold down a button and change the control scheme.
For the low price of $300.
Well, I'm sorry. I was just he made a point. He said,
no, you're
well,
right.
Then I would have to keep changing it. But ironically enough, with the DualSense Edge, at least you can have 3 separate profiles.
Now I'm even more pissed off because now I feel like Sony's like, you could have it if you weren't a poor.
Yeah, classism in action from Sony. I also I respect Jonesing Simba's point, but I also feel like that. I don't know. I think it's an accessibility issue of like,
I agree.
Why would you make the player have to go to the system settings instead of giving them the option of doing it just in your own menu? Like, then it's just like, there's so much friction there, right? Like, ultimately what that's going to do is just get someone to not play the game, because having to go all the way into the system settings every time to switch it is just not worth it. But
or buy a DualSense Edge,
or spend $300. I don't think it's actually $300, but it's more than $200.
It's $250. It was a steep cost.
Can we talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance too?
Oh, brother, I've been waiting all week.
So last week I had some good things to say about this video game. And I had some like early concerns of like, I am afraid that it's going to be too much of a sim. I'm afraid that it's going to blah, 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 whatever. And then if you're in the drop in, drop out Discord, I was getting spicy in there. The game was just I feel like being deeply unfair, and in a way, it was also just like kind of a bug where I had this issue very early on in the game of like an autosave happened right before I got jumped by 2 bandits with literally like nothing on my person. And so I was in this hour loop of either trying to run away from them, but I couldn't. They have unlimited fucking stamina apparently, so they're sprinting behind me the whole time. Or I would try to fight them and I just didn't have the skill, both as a player and as a character, to fight them. Ultimately what I do, I reload, I lose 30 minutes, whatever. And then I got into this other situation where I'm trying to steal this horse from this little bandit camp. And I'm like, now all of a sudden there's fucking 6 of these motherfuckers. I have a little bit better gear, but I'm like over an hour trying to like, okay, I have figured out I can't just fight them head on. So now I'm going to try to go the sneaking route, but I don't have a dagger, so I can't kill them. So I'm just like fucking pulling my hair out for 90 minutes trying to steal this horse. Ultimately, I totally cheese the system and I'm able to do it. And then I put in another 5 hours. I put in another 6 hours, another 7 hours. And this game is just at every turn frustrating me. And now Cayman, I'm getting really fucking pissed because I'm starting to like the game and I don't want to because I put my foot down and I said this game fucking blows, but now I'm starting to see what people like about it. Even though I'm still fucking pissed half the time I'm playing it, I'm starting to see like I've met this blacksmith. I'm making my own fucking sword. I'm making fucking horseshoes. I'm making axes for people. And I'm just wandering around this area, meeting all these people and doing these dumb fucking side quests. It feels in a lot of ways like both a simple Skyrim and a very hardcore Skyrim. But there's like this weird loveliness to that for me where like, I won't finish this game. I guarantee you I won't finish this game. In fact, I might not play this game past this week once Avowed comes out, but I am genuinely having so much fun with this game now, and I'm fucking pissed about it because I wanted to hate this game, but I kind of love this game, Cayman.
Patrick, welcome to my relationship with Elden Ring.
Wow.
Sure.
That is that feeling when you're playing the game and you're like, I fucking hate this. I fucking hate every minute of this, but I understand why people love it, and I'm loving it too. That was Elden Ring for me. I have just bitten completely off and have accepted. I think to enjoy this game, you have to accept that this game does not give a shit if you succeed or not.
Sure.
And it feels in a way like you're playing a Souls game, like the level of difficulty. But one thing I realized, and Patrick, maybe this is the reason why I bought in much sooner than you, was that I had that feeling where I was like, I can't do this. Why are you asking me to do this?
Sure.
So before, I would have just beat my head against the wall for an hour until I could find a cheese method and do it. Now I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go do one of the other 200 other things, and I'll come back when I'm stronger or I'm better or I've got a better, whatever.
Yes.
And you have to, if you treat it like a Souls game, then the enjoyment will come from it. And man, let me tell you, I've done the weirdest fucking shit in this game. I went on like a vision quest with the Balkan man and his comrades, where we got so fucking shit hammered. I saw a talking dog, and the talking dog led me to a huge story moment that apparently you can just stumble into that like shouldn't have happened. Basically, I ran one quest into another quest. And it all blended, and I like looked it up online. They were like, yeah, technically you can fuck right up and just walk into a thing, and you can have this moment happen and skip half of an entire storyline.
Wow.
If you just stumble into this moment. And I don't want to spoil it because it's really fucking cool if you do it that way. But like, this game's fucking insane, and it is really, really good. There's moments, Patrick, where and more that I swear I'm looking at the scenery and I'm like, you could fool a person. You genuinely could fool a person into thinking this is a real photo of like a pasture in Western Europe. Like,
it's so weird to me how the game jumps back and forth between being absolutely stunning and looking like a game from 2006.
Yeah.
And usually the 2006 part is like character related, specifically with like inter-dialogue type stuff. And then sometimes like just like the way that it being a first person game, sometimes things will look really janky.
Right.
But yeah, there are times when I'm like, and I'm playing on the Portal, so it's already like kind of at a worse quality, but I'm like, oh my God, this game is so pretty.
Have you have you put it up on the TV yet?
I played a little bit on the TV over the weekend. I've put in about 10 hours. I've probably put 8 of those hours in on the Portal.
Wow.
I actually played some today on the Portal because I wanted to see, because I do feel like when I recommend the Portal, I'm like, pros and cons here. Certain games don't feel as good on the Portal as other games. Like I feel like first person shooters specifically don't feel super good on the Portal because of just like how it functions. So I did want to get some hands-on time in the Portal with this to see what it was like. Plays perfectly on the Portal.
Yeah.
The map is a little bit hard to see, I feel like, because it is a bit condensed. So it looks incredible on the Portal as well. Like,
yeah,
still looks fucking great. The game looks fucking great. And I did want to say, Patrick, this is a little bit of an annoyance that might piss you off even more. But if you sync up your pros account and then watch 4.5 hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance Twitch streams, you can unlock late game gear. At any point.
I would love to do that.
So it kind of definitely helps because I like just unlocked it and I was like, holy shit, yeah, like it definitely boosts like all my stats like considerably.
I gotta do
that. If you want the more hardcore experience, obviously don't do that.
No, I want it as easy as possible.
Right. And I'm like, so this is actually kind of nice because like combat wise, I'm still getting my ass kicked if it's more than one person. But that's kind of feels cool, you know, when you do get past that part where you beat him and you're like sweating profusely because you're like, Jesus Christ, I've been trying so hard. But yeah, this game, it is going to take a lot for whatever comes out next to like change my mind. I think I'm not going to say it's going to win Game of the Year. I don't see a world in which this is not at least in the conversation.
Cool.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You guys have totally pushed me over the edge on this game. I'm so excited to try this out now. Like, you guys know I'm a Soulsborne sicko.
And I think you'd like it.
Dude, with everything you're saying, yeah.
I do think it's worth mentioning the main kind of similarity is more of like a theme and then like a system where like it doesn't have like the Souls systems, but it has that same feeling of like, this is really hard. I can't figure out how to do it, but once I do, it feels really good. And like, there's nothing in the way of difficulty settings. There's literally not an accessibility menu on this game. Like,
wow,
which is unfortunate, but when it works and when it sings, it does. And it's the kind of thing where I could see this being like I'm watching something on the TV and I'm not going to pay attention to the story, even if the story is incredible, but I'm just going to run around this world, see what I stumble into, do some side quests, make some fucking swords as a blacksmith and enjoy my time and then turn it off and not think about it again. But I'm having a really good time with it now. And I'm very, very shocked to think
I'd love to hear that, Patrick.
Yeah. Jonesy Simba, before we move on, asks, y'all probably touch on this at some point, but is it worth it to play Kingdom Come 1 first?
No, absolutely not.
I as someone who didn't play 1 first, my understanding is just jump to 2.
I played a good chunk of the first one, and I say a good chunk. I played 10 to 15 hours and was like, I understand now why there's a reason why people don't play Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Or they say that this game is significantly better. There's a reason why the Metacritic score is drastically different, in which the first game is very buggy. The combat does not feel nearly as good, and the combat is very tough in this game. Did not feel nearly as good in the first Kingdom Come. And there's a lot of cool ideas. Story-wise, I went back and did like a retrospective to get the ending and everything to make sure I was prepped for it. You have absolutely no reason. Just watch a 30-minute retrospective that just does a story recap. The story, I will say the story in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, fucking amazing.
Cool.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I've not done much of the main story. I'm still like, once you get past the tutorial, the next thing is like go to this wedding. I've still not gone to the wedding. I'm just been fucking around doing all sorts of other things.
It's really
I will
cool.
say, last kind of piece of advice for anybody. Oh, my hair just got tall. Last piece of advice for anybody like Maury considering this game. Do a little bit of research first. Watch some gameplay, watch a long review, watch those kinds of things, because it really feels unlike any fantasy game I've ever played. It just seems so much more serious than anything else. And not even tonally, even though kind of tonally, but just like the way that the game works, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be a game. It feels like it should be a simulation. Which we talked about a little bit last week, but I think it's worth reiterating that like this does not feel anything like an Elder Scrolls game. It does not feel anything like a Kingdoms of Amalur. Like it's not fast, it's not arcadey, and I think that's good to know before you jump into it, because it was almost a deal breaker for me, but now I'm finding joy in it. Okay, let's jump into some news, boys. First one up. Sony apparently turned down a sequel to The Order 1886. This is from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. Sony allegedly turned down a sequel to PlayStation 4 game The Order 1886 due to its poor critical reception, the co-founder of developer Ready at Dawn has said. Andrea Pacino told MinMax that Ready at Dawn pitched an incredible sequel that would have signed its life away to make it purely for the sake of players. The Order 1886 arrived in 2015 as an action game about werewolves in Victorian London, but despite being among the best looking games of the generation, it received middling reviews from critics. Quote, "It would have been an incredible sequel, I can tell you that for a fact," Pacino said, though admitted he wouldn't say much because he doesn't own the franchise rights. Quote, "We pitched the sequel to Sony regardless of the critical reception, and in a way, it's better that they passed, because if we thought we were going to be screwed before, man, with the sequel, we would have signed our life away," end quote. Pacino said Ready at Dawn had a difficult relationship with Sony while making the original game and ultimately had to cut myriad elements in order to hit deadlines and eventually release the Order 1886 before it was ready. The graphical fidelity of the game's initial pitches and reveal led Sony to expect the same quality of builds to be submitted at certain milestones in its development, Pacino said, but payments were withheld when Ready at Dawn had to prioritize other things and temporarily couldn't hit the same graphical standards. While Pacino said this is industry standard for third-party publishers, it led to a frustrating relationship between Ready at Dawn and Sony, and the team was ready to sign up for a worse situation to make a sequel regardless. Quote, "We were going to do it just because we wanted to deliver to the players, but we would have been we would have had a terrible budget would be small." I see, they're quoting like word for word, and he kind of spoke in like train of thought. "Terrible budget would be small, we would have been completely at the mercy of any decisions and things because we had no leverage whatsoever. We were not in a position to negotiate a reasonable contract. They could have done whatever, but we would have taken it because we wanted a chance to redeem the franchise." What a bummer,
dude. Fuck.
Like we've said before on this show, like we always hoped that there would have been a sequel, because I was kind of firmly in the camp of this is a solid game, but just wait for the sequel, because the world building was so cool. Like they say in the article, the fidelity was amazing. It just, there were times that the gameplay itself was, it left a lot to be desired. But I know both of y'all loved The Order. So Cayman, where's your head at on this?
So Maury was showing off his statue. I have one too of Sir Galahad up on my shelf. It's him leaning against like a brick wall with his gun. Yeah, I've got that one up there. I'll show it to you later. The audience doesn't get to see that. You have to tune into our OnlyFans account that Maury and I have set up. I was going to try to think of a clever name to attach to it, like
sure,
onlyfans.com/2sweatymeatboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be.
That's our username. Meatboys.
Yeah.
Maury, where's your head out on this?
Oh, dude. Heartbroken.
Yeah.
I think the whole story of Ready at Dawn is really tragic. I think getting more details now, finding out what their relationship was like with Sony, is even more disappointing, because Ready at Dawn did a lot of really essential work for PlayStation early on. Like you're looking at, especially on the PSP, you're talking about, I think it was Daxter, which was the PSP title, right? You're looking at God of War, Ghost of Sparta, God of War, Chains of Olympus. They took these other properties that Sony had, and they really brought a lot of life into them. And I think that they stuck true to the source material. Like Chains of Olympus and Ghosts of Sparta are some of my favorite God of War experiences. So I kind of wish that they would have been given more room for error with their own property, with their own franchise. The Order 1886 obviously has its problems. It's on the shorter end of games, but I don't actually think that that's to its disadvantage. The gameplay is phenomenal. The story and the world that they built was amazing. And to this day, it's one of the most graphically impressive PlayStation games. If I boot this up now, it looks better than, I would say, 50-60% of PS5 titles.
Sure.
It's insane. So it's disappointing to hear, especially with the major cliffhanger they leave you off on at the end of 1886. There was so much to be desired, and it would have been so cool because obviously at the end, right, Galahad kills one of the Lycans who was like serving under the person who basically managed the order. So now he's on the run. Like he was, I don't know. He would have been on his own.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen how that played out. Maybe they go a little bit longer. Clearly, from what one of the founders of Ready at Dawn was saying, it sounds like they needed more time on the game and they weren't given that time.
Yeah.
It's just a shame.
I mean, I remember so vividly. I don't remember which like E3 it was, but I remember seeing the reveal trailer for this and thinking, I can't fucking believe that this is what video games can be. And I was so fucking hyped for the Order 1886 back in 2013 or whatever. And then, to hear, because obviously, I mean, last year we talked about it on this very show, Ready at Dawn being closed down by Meta. And it's just such a bummer. And like Pacino in the article mentions, like, they don't own the rights to it. So he's like, I can't really say much. I would love for them to just like release a 30-page manuscript of like what would have happened, because it's safe to say, even if someone brings back the IP, they're not going to do the story that you guys had thought up. So like, just give us a little taste. Sure. I know if that happens, it would be a long time, but
here's the thing that I think's really funny about the Order 1886 is the game's about 5 hours long. And now I look at that as like, I miss when games were 5 hours long.
Yes, dude. Yes, dude.
So it's like one of the biggest complaints everyone had about the game at this point is actually kind of a selling point.
Yes.
Like our games, and the one thing I will say in that 5 hours, a lot of it is cutscenes. And if I remember correctly, unskippable cutscenes. Because I remember wanting to go back to do like the platinum. And I was like, God, I can't skip any of these cutscenes. This is a lot, even though it's just 5 hours. The game still, to your point, Maury, fucking beautiful. But like the actual gameplay mechanics, I always remember like being like, I wasn't bad. As a third-person shooter, it felt a lot like Gears of War cover shooter. But it didn't feel bad. It wasn't like, oh God, this is such a bore to play. It was a fun game with a really cool story, beautiful visuals. It was just short. And got just way too much hate for it. I
always kind of had this like theory about the Order 1886 where if it didn't just drip with cool, people wouldn't have hated on it as much, because I think with how fucking cool everything was around it, I think gave more of a target to its just average gameplay. Like it was good, but like it wasn't. I think people said it was bad when it wasn't, but I think it's because we expected it to be amazing because everything else about it was amazing. And so it's like kind of a little unfair thing where you throw like fucking, what was that game? Like Void Bastards or something.
Void Bastards.
It was like you throw that gameplay, or you throw the Order gameplay on Void Bastards and no one changes a word about Void Bastards because like everything else around it matches the quality of, you know what I'm saying? Like, that might be a bad comparison, but
okay. Sorry, Maury, please.
No. I was just going to jump in and I was just going to say, in regards to what we're talking about with the time of how long this game was, number one, it was like, it could be played in 5, but it was closer to like 8. If you weren't dashing through it, you could hit 8. And in my head, I'm looking at like Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was a $50 game, and that's about 10 hours of gameplay. So like if you mainline it, it's about 10 hours. So it's weird. As we get farther away from the Order, people actually appreciate shorter experiences coming out of Sony first party studios. But the other thing I want to say is this as well. I have said this before Miles Morales ever came out, or before any shorter PlayStation titles came out. Like, I am so invested in the quality of what's in a game that I'm not obsessed with the quantity. Prime example right now with Cayman playing Witchwood, right? Long game, because you're running back and forth doing a bunch of bullshit that you don't want to do. It's like if every second of the order is action packed or it's really hitting on the story that it's trying to tell and the way it's being presented, then like, why am I mad if I end at 7 hours? I just had to say, I will forever defend that. I think the order being 5 to 8 hours was totally okay. Yeah. I think they probably should have released it at like $50. Maybe that would
okay. Here's the thing. I'm right there with you on this because what is the modern gen version of the Order 1886?
I don't know.
I'm thinking
Hellblade. Absolutely beautiful fucking game that is very scant on everything else. I would even go so far as to say the Order has much more gameplay than Hellblade. Hellblade doesn't score really well either. Scores better, but like I feel like the reason we give Hellblade a pass on some of it is because we're just like, well, it's Game Pass day and date, or we say, well, it's only $30. Like if that game launched at $60, $70, whatever, it would be $60 would be what the Order was at the time. Have to be fucking lambasted. Has to be fucking raked over the coals. The Order is the butt of so many jokes.
Yeah.
They're just completely undeserved. I'm not saying this as someone who's just going to be like over here just trying to like pump up a bad game, like which I do a lot.
I feel like though, if I don't know, there's this. I think more about the issues that people had with the Order, and I think of other games in the mid 2010s of like back then. I feel like length was the like go-to clickbait issue where like now it's microtransactions, right? And it's like people don't care as much about length anymore because they care more about, are you trying to nickel and dime me? Are you like, those kinds of things? Is this a game as a service instead of, and so it's like now that's like the new issue that gamers are being convinced is bad, which I mean, microtransactions, I do agree that there's a lot of bad shit with microtransactions, but like, it's the kind of thing where I think back then a lot of people just felt like, oh, everyone says that's the issue, so that's the issue, and I'm pissed. And I feel like we've outgrown that as like in gaming culture, and I hope that it doesn't come back because I agree with y'all. Like I'm totally fine with a 5-hour game these days.
Because it's a pain to have an 80-hour game to chug through every month. Yeah. Like I'm not built for it. Like dude, as I got to the end of the year last year, where we did our Game of the Year conversation over at Drop In Drop Out, like I did not beat Dragon Age. I did not beat Metaphor because these are huge fucking games.
Yeah.
I would kill to have an 8-hour experience right now. I don't know.
Here. Yeah. Let me tell you, if you're in the lookout for a 5 to 8 hour experience right now, potential Game of the Year potential, honestly, arguably Game of the Year contender across the board. Every year you could put it up there and I would say it's a Game of the Year contender. It's called Bulletstorm. And it's fucking amazing.
God,
it is one of, if not the best game ever made. And it's 5 to 8 hours long. You know what's funny?
I will do a playthrough at some point on stream.
I was watching a Game Ranks video that was like games with canceled sequels that we really wanted that sequel. Both Bulletstorm and the Order 1886 were on that list of like, these games were great. People should not have hated on them, and because you people are being dicks, we didn't get sequels. And it's like, yeah, dude, fucking those two games, sequels. Stop being cowards.
Well, speaking of cowards, let's talk about Rocksteady. Apparently they're returning to one-player Batman in the future. This is from
cowardly?
Jordan Midler at VGC. What'd you say?
Is that cowardly?
Yeah. I would say, because what a game Suicide Squad was. No, it was a bad transition. I'll own that. This is Jordan Midler at VGC. Rocksteady Studios is working on a Batman game, it is claimed. According to Bloomberg, as part of a report explaining what each of Warner Brothers game studios is currently working on, it's claimed that the studio, which made its name with the Batman Arkham franchise, is going back to the Batman license. Quote, Rocksteady is looking to return to Batman for a single-player game, but according to people familiar with the timeline, the new project is years away from landing, the publication states. Their last game, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, obviously was a commercial and critical failure. They also suffered layoffs earlier this year, marking the second time in recent months the company had undergone job losses. So it's a bit of a smaller story in that we're not going to see whatever this is for quite some time, but I'm interested to hear from y'all of like, I have a couple questions. One, do we care? 2, does Rocksteady have our trust after Suicide Squad? And 3, do we think this is like a proper Arkham game, or do you think that they're going to try their hands at like a new something? You don't have to answer all of them in one go by any means, but I'm just like overall thoughts. Where are we at on this, Maury?
God, I'm so excited to be here and to talk about this. Well, number one, no, I couldn't care less. And I want to explain why. We talked about this a little bit last week when we talked about BioWare, Ship of Theses, the Axe Dilemma, right? The people that made those original Arkham games are not at Rocksteady anymore.
Sure.
They're not, because they had to all be replaced by people who were like able to make a live service title. And that was not the team that they had at Rocksteady. So that's number one. Number 2, I don't think it's so much that I don't trust Rocksteady. I think I don't trust the suits at the top. You know what I mean? The guys who originally went to Rocksteady and said, hey, you have to make a live service Suicide Squad game. Like, they don't care. And I don't think that they're going to go out of their way to go get the talent back that originally worked on the Arkham games to bring them back into the fold to make this title. So I don't know. This is even assuming that Rocksteady is here. Like,
Sure.
Suicide Squad made no money for Warner Bros. Like, none. Like, it's a complete flop and a complete dud. So the last game that they released, if I'm not mistaken, before Suicide Squad was Arkham Knight in 2015.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 4 years away minimum, like, for this next game. So, like, what does that land us in 2029? So 14 years without a game that made money, and you think they're going to keep Rocksteady open? That's awesome that the people at Rocksteady think that they're going to make a Batman game. I know they fucking won't. They don't.
Sure.
They don't. They can't. Like if they could, it wouldn't be what we remember about the Arkham games. And they're not going to let them go 14 years without making money. I just don't think so. And I don't wish that on those developers. I'm just trying to be realistic and honest about what the industry does when these kinds of things happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder, and then I want to bring in Dumpster Boy, but I can't help but wonder if there is an exception for Batman. If the IP holds so much power, especially in this space, that for a studio to not make real money for 14 years, but with, WB way up at the top being like, but it's Batman. Let's give him another shot. I don't know. Just a thought. Cayman, where's your head at on all this?
So I back up Maury's opinion about like the broken axe paradox. Is this even the same Rocksteady that made any of the Asylum games? You laid off half of your staff. How many of them were still, they're presumably you lost some original devs in that layoff, right? Or layoffs plural at this point. So then it's like, can you even make the same quality game if you potentially don't even have the same team there to do it? So there's that. The second thing is I feel like when you're a studio, no matter what studio you are, I feel like if you're a studio that works underneath a company like WB or EA, maybe to an extent Ubisoft, is that you are currently and actively Sisyphus rolling a boulder up a mountain forever. You'll never be able to get that boulder up there. You always need to be bigger and better than the last game to be able to remain open when you are working under a place like WB.
Yeah.
We see it. How many studios did EA kill that were like premier studios that just gone?
Yeah.
Or Activision just sucking shit up to throw them into Call of Duty. I think you're never going to be good enough or big enough to be able to do that while you're doing this. And I think we're going to end up in another situation where at a certain point, if the fucking Wonder Woman game is now re-looping again to try to figure out what it's going to be, I don't think either of these games come out. I don't think either of these studios come out.
Sure.
And it's a fucking bummer. But when you have these huge corporations that have their fucking boot on your neck, especially one like WB, who is in myriads of financial debt right now and is literally throwing away, burning full copies of movies that they have made that will never see the light of day. They're fucking burning them to save money on tax breaks. Like, no, I'm sorry.
Sure, will WB even be here?
Right. We might not even have that. And now they're fucking trying to send out a Game of Thrones mobile game that's going to be ported to consoles. And they're like, that's it. The next big AAA game is a mobile game. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
You bastards.
Yeah, bastards. I feel like there's 3 scenarios. The one obvious one that nothing happens that we've just discussed. I think the second scenario is now that both of these games seem to be, the other one being Wonder Woman, like you just mentioned, seem to be kind of like back at the beginning stage. I wonder if there's like a cross universe thing. James Gunn at the top of DC right now, also in charge in a way about the games that are being made.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's something there about like, okay, let's make it actually in universe and, whatever that means. So I think that's option 2. And I think option 3 is they do get to, make another Batman game, and it's just different than Arkham. It's not another Arkham game. It's, people for so long wanted like a Batman Beyond game. I don't think that would ever happen. I don't know that Batman Beyond actually has like value in the greater sphere of making money, because that's what they want to do, is they want to make money. But I could see them kind of rebooting the Arkham franchise and have it be just its own new thing and get away, especially, with Kevin Conroy not being here anymore. Like I could see it being a different, not as like the same realistic big Batman style, like kind of change it up a little bit. I could see that also potentially being a way forward. But yeah, I would love to go back to the last conversation, put it out in 3 years, make it a 6-hour Batman game. I don't need all of Arkham or all of Gotham to fucking fly around in. Bring me back to the GameCube days of Batman, the Legend of Sun Tzu, or whatever the fuck it was called. Just give me a short fucking Batman game.
That was
and
a
I'll have
bad
a great
game,
time.
though.
It was a bad game.
It was a very bad game. I want to bring me back to the Batman Begins Batman, where you got that famous scene where he picks the drug dealer, but he's like, "Donde estás los drogas?" Like, what are you doing, Batman? That's Spanish.
Last question on this topic before we go into a little news spotlight for this week. Jonesing Simba says, do we believe the statement that Rocksteady said they were the ones that wanted to make it live service? I get that. I get that just because they said it doesn't necessarily make it true. What do we think?
I believe that was a statement released with a gun to the back of whoever said its head.
I'm inclined to agree. I feel like it's one of those things. Like I think Maury, you've said on the show before, we're like, even if it's not what you want to do, we know that that's what the boss wants us to do. So I'm going to say that's what I want to do.
Totally.
So I think it's that situation.
Yeah.
But because I mean, come on, there are people that love games as a service as an idea, but it seems like game developers en masse don't like that.
Especially not a developer that built all of their reputation off of building single player narrative driven experiences.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you're not sitting there like, you want to know what I've been thinking about? I have been wanting to make a 4-player live service co-op game. No, they're not saying that. They're not. No.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Okay, a little spotlight of this week's news. Monster Hunter Wilds Open Beta Test 2 may get an extra day due to the PSN outage. There's a little interesting thing there. Another 24 hours. Okami's, I thought this was very funny. Okami's director, Kamiya-san, says he doesn't want people playing the Wii version of the game. He says, I made the PS2 version, play that one. Which I
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We mentioned the PSN going out. It is back, and apparently Sony is going to be giving people 5 days of additional service on the account, which
only if you already have PS Plus.
Yeah. Amazing.
Huge asterisk.
Yeah, of course. Another interesting thing, we almost talked about it in full tonight, but I cut it for time. Sony rejected a pitch for Resistance 4, according to Insomniac's founder, Ted Price, who's on his way out of the studio. Very interesting.
Hold on. I know we cut it for time's sake, but considering we still have 2 minutes left before Patrick has to go.
You blame it on me.
I don't know what Patrick's going to go do. He just has to go.
Sure.
Maury, were you old enough to play any of the Resistance games when they were out?
No, but I've since gone back and played them, and I have to be honest, like, it didn't really tickle me.
That is upsetting.
I'm sorry, but like for me, it was always like Resistance or Killzone, and like I am so much more a Killzone guy than a Resistance guy.
Opposite over here. I don't know. I didn't vibe. I think it was the control scheme in the original Killzone games on the PlayStation 2 was like, it was, remember in Mankind, it was like Mankind Divided.
Mankind, yeah.
Data sets, where your zoom in button was clicking in R3. was how you like zoomed in to shoot.
So
That's how the
ugly.
original Killzone was.
Yes.
And it was like, no, I can't change this controls. And that's like what they like fucking stuck with for a while. It was awful. But then I don't know. I love the more arcadey aspect of Resistance. Such a fucking bummer. We didn't get it. And we're never gonna see that
Never.
come.
Absolutely. That is one that I would confidently say we never see again.
No.
So Maury, you would say that Resistance for you is not a GWT, a game worth tickling.
No, it's not. I mean, on the suck to fuck scale, I think it leans toward the suck.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of suck, after multiple delays, Football Manager 25 has been canceled. They say we'll see you next year. Which for any of you football nerds,
Do you play that?
I don't.
Wait, which football is this? Which football
what is
is
this?
This is English football.
Okay,
The world
okay.
sport.
Right.
Yeah,
Technically, it's actually soccer, but then they changed it to football to be dicks to America.
This is a game franchise that I have not played in probably 15 years, but I remember playing it on the PC so long ago. Like when we didn't have a gaming PC, we had a family PC. Like that's how long ago I played Football Manager. Take-Two has doubled down to its shareholders saying GTA 6 is coming this fall. Not true. Pokemon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4 are still Switch 1 titles, says Nintendo. Very interesting.
Wow.
And then the final piece of the news spotlight, Kojima has announced a Death Stranding 2 on the beach panel for South by Southwest in March. Maury, are we getting a date?
No.
Okay.
Kojima's just there to rub shoulders with the Hollywood people and feel good about himself. I hope there's not a release date because then I get fucked because I counterpicked you for Death Stranding. I can't.
Well, speaking of Kojima, oh no, sorry, go ahead, Gaiman.
Sorry, Maury, question. How upset will you be if it does get a date that you didn't pick it up, even though we were telling you to?
I think I'm really bitter because I've picked up a lot of shit that I don't think will come out. And so for me to have not picked up something that's going to end up coming out that I wanted to pick would make me lose my mind. But also then I get my Death Stranding 2 Collector's Edition and I get to play it in 2025. And that's enough for me to lose Fantasy Critic.
Yeah.
Do you think if they launch another hey, if you get this deluxe edition, you get another baby, would you get another baby?
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Dude, I would happily put another BB up behind me. But isn't Lou out of the thing at the end? I mean, I guess,
think so.
Yeah, he's like a baby now that like Sam's caring for. So like, I don't know.
He's gonna get real human flesh. Toddler.
Wow.
Like what was it? Cult of the Lambs had like a flesh, like the special edition had like a flesh, fake skin thing. What was that?
It wasn't Cult of the Lamb. I think it was either Kayla or Jericho was telling us about this recently.
Something they used, and I don't want to say this in context with what we were just talking about, but they got
inside. Thank you, Josie Simba. It was the inside special.
Thank you. They got a sex toy company to make like real skin.
So good.
So I don't want to bring it back to what we were talking about. I'm just saying, do you think you'll get a toddler?
I mean, fuck. If they package in a fucking like grown toddler in the collector's edition, I'm ecstatic.
That'd
Fatherhood.
GWT daddy over here with his Death Stranding 2 toddler.
I love that.
That's great.
Well, speaking of Kojima, I thought because we're ending a little early tonight. Not because of me, by the way. That's just the way that the news went. By the way,
fucking lied in your face.
I have not yet watched the Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater leaked trailer. Do we want to watch it together and then go home?
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. We turn it down. That's probably
Colonel, tighten the security on this place. He's coming here. I'm sure of it. America is out to destroy the Shagohod and get its hands on your inheritance. The philosopher's legacy. Then they're out to kill me as well.
What's the story between you and the boss?
She was like a mother, and my master.
She was like a mother.
The Cobras will take care of him.
Do you hear me, Snake?
Oh, I don't like that eye.
We are the sons of the boss.
I see it! The fear!
A great and terrible fury at being alive.
Can I just say this looks so much dumber in beautiful graphics than when it did what
Why
you
don't
want?
you come back?
You can, and I
There's
agree.
nothing for you here. Go home.
Oh,
Go
wasp
to your
hands!
boss.
Look at my wasp hands!
But I still have the Shagohod and the legacy. There is nothing America can do to stop us. I'm not finished yet.
Maury, he's not finished yet, but are you going to finish now that you have a date of August 28th, 2025?
Oh, I'm gonna finish. It looks good. It looks really fucking good. But we all know I have the Metal Gear Solid like collection, whatever the fuck, where they collected all the old games and put them on a disc together. I have that sitting right up here, and that is fucking dog shit because Konami doesn't know what to do with their properties.
Yeah.
I really fucking hope that this game comes out and it's everything I need it to be to get a lot of points for Fantasy Critic. But yeah, I'm excited. One of my games is actually coming out this year. Maybe the only one.
Well, and I feel like an August 28th date means that we get it by the end of the year.
Oh,
if
yeah.
it gets delayed,
Yeah.
it'll be delayed to like November or December
Right.
at the latest.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that earlier comment though about, man, this game looks so stupid, but it didn't on the PlayStation 2 when it first came out. The game was so cool. And part of me wonders if like we all play it and we're like, wait, hold on a second. This game is really fucking dumb. And this is the moment where we're all like, hold on.
Wait a second.
Is Kojima just like kind of crazy?
No.
Like wasp hands, man, Spider-Man's hands. You got fucking old man's mans. And I'm just sitting here thinking, fast forward to Metal Gear Solid, and what do you have, dog? Think about it. Okay.
Old man's man is actually maybe the funniest thing you've ever said.
No, that was fucking great.
Guys, I
That was
just
fucking
think
great.
maybe these games aren't as cool as we think they are.
No, Kojima's a genius. And don't get it wrong, they may not translate well now, but like I don't think that should taint anyone's image of when they originally played Metal Gear Solid 3.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of things don't translate well into the present. So
You're right.
I don't know.
More often than not, when I have that argument, it's because I'm trying to defend something heinous that was in a trash cinema film.
Sure.
Never have I been like, okay, just bear with me, okay? Wasp hands mans and old man's mans, they were really fucking cool in 2003. Okay? They were really cool in 2003. Like, I don't know.
I'm excited to play this game because I've only played a little bit of Snake Eater. It's the one mainline Metal Gear game that I've not finished before. So I'm very excited to play through this because I remember back when I was going through all of them because I weirdly started with 4, which is like the end of the story.
Yeah.
And I kind of just jumped around a lot. And when I got to 3, I was like both kind of burnt out on the franchise. And also I didn't like then how the survival elements of it. But I think I'm more open to that now. And getting to play like a remade version as long as it feels good and doesn't play like shit. I'm excited for that. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm excited that we got it because this was on my Fantasy Critic team last year, Maury.
Wow.
But I didn't get to drop it because he counterpicked it.
God, that's
And then he
brutal.
beat me by like 15 points, even though I did my best to break the system.
God, I'll tell you what
true.
I need. What I need for Fantasy Critic is tomorrow I need an RE9 announcement.
Sure.
Fuck, it's state of play.
I can't wait to play RE9 in January 28th, 2006. Release date.
2006 came in?
Yeah.
2006. God damn. Okay, well that chocolate hit, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna wrap this bad boy up.
let's
We're
wrap
going
it up.
off rails fast, guys.
Let's wrap it up. Thanks for being here, y'all. What a fun chat today. We are going to rate out in a second, but before we do that, Maury, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me absolutely everywhere except Blue Sky. I still have to make my account at GWT Mori. Everywhere. It's the same. Easy.
Hell yeah. Dumpster Boy, how about you?
You can find me at the Dumpster Boy pretty much everywhere now. We've condensed all my handles into just the Dumpster Boy, or at least we attempted. And you can follow Dumpster Dives on the Spotlight Games Discord. I drop reviews pretty often, actually. I probably will have one out for Witchwood here soon enough. And then join the Dido Discord. If you haven't joined the main one, the Drop In, Drop Out podcast Discord, if you haven't joined us yet, then you're missing out. That fucking Discord is constantly going off. My battery is drained by 3 p.m. every day because these guys just want to talk about shit all the time. And I'm like, well, of course I got to join.
That's true. You can follow me at P Schwissa. You can also follow the pod at Spotlight Games Pod everywhere, but then also go to dropindropoutpod.com for all of the things we're doing. We'll be back tomorrow late afternoon with a State of Play live reaction, and then tomorrow night with some more Doki Doki. We're going to go raid Janet Garcia. She used to be a host at Kind of Funny. She's streaming Persona 5 Royal right now. So let's go with this strong crew of like 20 people. She has like 30 right now. So let's almost double her audience. She's awesome. So thanks for being here. Let's go right out, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.